Hey, Star Stuff. Here is your timeless weekly reading for January 8th to January 14th, 2024. The beginning of the week starts with the Ace of Water. Going with the flow, it is a person in the water, but it doesn't really look like water. It looks like waves of energy as they are floating and going with it. What I'm getting from the cards is whatever's going on, be like a cork in the water. Float to the top, go with it, observe what's happening. Don't fight it. Don't, you can kind of go with the current, but don't try to make any big movements around it. Clarified by the Five of Rainbows. This is likely an inner child feeling left out, rejected, maybe, deeply rooted inner child issues. It could be immaturity. It could be feelings of rejection. It could be things like your inner child needs things that it's not getting. But either way, the inner child feels left out and it is affecting your ability to show up in this situation. Spending time with that inner child, addressing the inner child's needs may bring you some relief emotionally, especially as the Ace of Rainbows is an emotional card. You may be experiencing some younger aspects of yourself at the beginning of this week. So it might be a good idea to observe. Two of Water says, use that friendly energy. Be side by side in beingness. And even if it's a difficult person that you're dealing with, try to see their humanness. Everything is connected. There's no neediness in this particular connection. That is the friendliness one. It is just a relating. You don't have to give too much of yourself. If you're people pleasing, if your tendency is to control, check in with that and let go. If there's any control happening, because sometimes when we're people pleasing, we're controlling, right? We want the other person to like us. We want things to go well. So we overgive, don't say things, pull back, shrink. This is not the time for that. This is the time to address ourselves. This is the time to be with ourselves, to be compassionate with ourselves, and to look at the moment and apply correct action in the moment. Okay. Then we have the Creator, Midweek. This is the King of Fire. Fire is action, and the King of Fire is mastery in action. See how he has that yellow ball of chi, of energy, prana, hara, coming from his center? The solar plexus is personal power, personal sovereignty. Connect with that. Connect with him and move in the circle of your own mastery in the middle of this week. He has his lower chakras together. He is powerful, strong, grounded, and rooted like a nice aged oak tree. He acts in the present moment, in the physical, from maturity, from a place of abundance, but from a place of mastery in his personal power. The book says he's so integrated that there is no longer any difference between who he is inside and who he is in the world outside. He offers this gift of understanding and integration to all those come to him, the gift of creative light that comes from the center of his being. So whatever that creative project you have, if you are creating in profession, maybe there's a secret project that nobody knows about. If you're not a creative in profession, maybe it is a creative quality or ability that you have. Maybe it's an actual project, but whatever that is, spend some time with it. Advance it forward. Anything that we undertake now with the understanding that comes from maturity, will bring enrichment to our own lives and the lives of others. Use whatever skills you have, whatever you have learned from your own life experience. It's time to express yourself. End of the week. 7 of water. Projections. This is illusions, people not seeing each other clearly, and it could be you not seeing something clearly or someone clearly. It could be them not seeing you clearly. It could be both. Sometimes the things that we think are not necessarily true. And when you are observing for evidence of what is and what isn't and what might be, make sure that you are checking in with that part of you that is using confirmation bias to get your needs met. Book says, all of us can get caught up in projecting movies of our own making onto the situation and people surrounding us. It happens when we're not fully aware of our own expectations, desires, and judgments. Instead of taking responsibility for them and owning them, we try to attribute them to others. A projection can be devilish or divine, disturbing or comforting, but it is a projection nonetheless. A cloud that prevents us from seeing reality as it is. The only way out is to recognize the game. When you find a judgment arising about another, turn it around. Does what you see in others really belong to you? Is your vision clear, or is it clouded by what you want to see? And that is the confirmation bias projection pattern. So this is definitely looking like a week of introspection, an observation of self. We are, if you're on my channel, you are looking for mastery over self. You are looking at ways to grow. You are looking at ways to affect your environment and the people closest to you in positive ways. And projection is one of those ways that can seep into a relationship, seep into a situation, and really create misunderstandings and conflict that doesn't need to exist. The first clarifier is Major Arcana Aloneness. And if you can see, he has a staff, but and it looks like he's like maybe on a hill or a mountain, and there's light that appears to be emanating from him. Whenever I see this card, I remember what it's like to understand that a friend group, like my friend group, your friend group, needs to change. I need to spend some time spiritually cultivating. I think that's the best way I can think of to describe that, right? Like loneliness and aloneness are different. I'm just going to read to you really quickly what is in the book. When there is no significant other in our lives, we can either be lonely or enjoy the freedom that solitude brings. When we find no support among others for our deeply felt truths, we can either feel isolated and bitter or celebrate the fact that our vision is strong enough even to survive the powerful human need for the approval of family, friends, or colleagues. If you are facing such a situation now, be aware of how you are choosing to view your aloneness and take responsibility for the choice you have made. The humble figure in this card glows with a light that emanates from within. One of Gautam Buddha's most significant contributions to the spiritual life of humankind was to insist to his disciples, be a light unto yourself. Ultimately, each of us must develop within ourselves the capacity to make our way through the darkness without any companions, maps, or guide. And continuing with our theme of water as bookends, the Queen of Water, receptivity. She is receiving from spirit. She is receiving from her lowest chakras. She is immersed in the water. Her emotions, her receptivity, her utter surrender in the moment does not make her weak. It doesn't make her a pushover in any way, shape, or form. She exists as she is, and her power emanates from her as she receives. Okay, from the book, receptivity represents the feminine, receptive quality of water and of the emotions. Her arms are extended upwards to receive, and she is completely immersed in the water. She has no head, no busy and aggressive mind to hinder her pure receptivity. And as she is filled, she is continuously emptying herself, overflowing and receiving more. The lotus pattern or matrix that emerges from her represents the perfect harmony of the universe that becomes apparent when we are in tune with it. The Queen of Water brings a time of unboundedness and gratitude for whatever life brings without any expectations or demands. Neither duty or thought of merit or reward are important. Sensitivity, intuition, and compassion are the qualities that shine forth now, dissolving all the obstacles that keeps us separate from each other and from the whole. Okay, beginning of the week, we are looking at being in a new emotional place of being both with release and with surrender as we go with the flow. We're checking in with our inner child who may have feelings of rejection, feeling small, maybe underestimating or doubting ourselves, and we are shifting that relationship. We are deepening our connection to ourselves, deepening our connection with those in relationship with, if it's safe to. We are in deep understanding. And if it is not safe to be friendly with the people in front of us, we are looking at their humanity. We are emotionally unattaching ourselves from toxic and negative patterns, and we are deeply relating and connecting to our inner child. This is very likely is a healing pattern for people who have not done inner child work, who maybe need to do some more inner child work. The beginning of the week is the time for it. There are likely going to be things coming up that will make you look at that. Middle of the week, we have the King of Fire, who is creative expression. He is in the power of his lower chakras, and he is in the mastery of creating, and that could be creating himself. That could be creating a physical project. That could be acting upon a situation. But we have gone with the flow. We have met with ourselves. We have shifted our relationship with ourselves. And we are now in the mastery of action, of expression. As we move to the end of the week, we have some possible illusions that could be grounded in the emotional. Check in with that. Again, as the book said, know the game. Check yourself. Everybody has cognitive distortions. Make sure you are checking your distortions and adjusting yourself accordingly. Remember that the situation that you are in, whatever it is that happens by the time we get to the end of the week, maybe this is for an overall situation, you are alone versus lonely. Remember to shine a light onto yourself. Remember who you are and get connected to Source. Open up your heart. Listen for the information that Source has for you. There's information in the material. There's information in synchronicity. There's information available through download. If you have not been meditating, now might be the time to start. 3 to 5 minutes is a great place to start. It can be a challenge even for that. Do what you can. If all you can do is 30 seconds, do that. 30 seconds at a time until you've reached 3 minutes. And remember, meditation is not necessarily a clearing of the mind. It is an allowing of your internal dialogue to be as it is. And if you get hooked, bring yourself back to center and let go again and start over. Not with the timer, but just reset to center. This receptivity, 2024, this week feels like you're in a different place. You have an opportunity to make a choice that is different than what you've done before, to show up in the world in a way that's different than you have before. Especially towards the end of the week, you have an opportunity to meet awareness, perhaps even to see through somebody else's stuff in a situation also, right? And to show up in a queenly manner, whether you're non-binary, transgender, masculine, feminine, whichever, we all have our masculine and feminine within us. And it looks like we get to see those aspects show up in different ways this week. Be kind to yourself, be gentle to yourself. If you have any questions or anything like that, you can reach out to me, drop me a comment. YouTube might not let me reply. immediately, but I'll see it and I'll reply. Just remember, you've got this. And if you found value in this video, please leave me a like and a comment. I'd love to hear about your week and how things have gone. And if you haven't already, will you subscribe to my channel? And as always, see you in the next one.